Welcome, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us here today. It's our first webinar series of the year, so obviously a great opportunity to jump on a call, obviously answer any questions, but most importantly, update you guys as to the work that we've been doing over the last 6 months of the year. I'm joined here today by Miles, our Learning and Organisational Development Manager. Welcome, Miles.
Hi, Liam. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today.
Fantastic. So look, really exciting opportunity to obviously jump on a call today. And this is one of the first opportunities that we've had to actually do a joint Canada / Australian webinar. So I'd like to welcome you. Obviously, it's the 20th of February at 8:30 in the morning here in Sydney, Australia. But the great news is we're joined by a number of people from Ontario, where it's obviously Wednesday, 19th of February at 4:30 in the afternoon. So look, great opportunity to obviously have a lot of discussion between us. Once again, thank you very much for the response. We had over 120 registrations for this webinar. So yeah, look, hopefully stimulating a lot of discussion. Before we jump into things, obviously just want to update you as to what last year looked like and what the year to come ahead looked like. The great news is last year we had just short of 2,000 new clinics actually open times on RxTro. What that meant was that there was about 115,000 appointments that were actually booked, and these are obviously opportunities to go and see the customer and obviously talk through the latest offerings that people have. One of the big updates that we really put in place last year, and we're tracking these very closely, is our CSAT score and our NPS score. So our CSAT score, which is customer satisfaction score, every time someone contacts the help desk, directly after that interaction, they receive a 3-question poll. Are you happy, unhappy, or neutral about your interaction? And the great news is the feedback that we're having so far, obviously 80% of people are reporting that they were happy and the problem resolved. The second one that we're really working on is obviously the Net Promoter Score. At the moment, we're sitting at about 6. So this is, you may have seen the little pop-ups that appear in the site from time to time. But essentially what this is we ask people, how do you like the system? Is it something you love, would recommend? And basically there's a calculation to take away the people that gave us 10 and then the people that gave us less than 7. There's a way that it's calculated, but point of the story is coming out at 6 at the moment. This is obviously one of our biggest focuses this year. We'd love to get it kind of closer to 20 or 30. And really the way that we see that we're going to achieve that is by some of the updates that obviously we're going through today. So that's the updates from last year, but obviously what we want to get on to is the big changes that we're implementing for this year. One of the things that obviously we're exposed to every day is that we're running a web platform, and we're running a web platform that operates in between a huge number of diverse users. So there's a lot of people in the pharmaceutical industry that use the platform. There's all of the private hospitals and specialists. More and more, there's becoming a lot of allied health providers and looking at these integrated multidisciplinary care teams. And obviously then there's everything from finance to different areas. One of the big challenges, obviously, with the platform is there's a lot of value out there that essentially primary care are really keen to engage with and sort of understand, you know, what are the options that are available, whether it's treatments, whether it's therapies, to obviously treat their patients better. Are there different services in the area that are obviously now available that I can refer to? But obviously, how do we sort of streamline that process? When we look at the feedback, and what we're going to do today is sort of walk through, call it 3 different personas that we see on the system. One of the big things that we hear from clinics, and these are actual de-identified quotes, but one of the big challenges that we hear is often, look, we're hearing about the same products repeatedly. We want to meet with specialists, but we don't know how to connect with them. or essentially we're seeing that the same reps from the same companies talking about the same products over and over again. So on one side, what we've got is we've got clinics, which essentially are saying in terms of the way the platform's working and obviously balancing things to what they want to hear, it's not quite working for them at the moment. On the other side, what we have is we have a huge number of private specialist groups. Now, what we see with these, there's a lot of specialists. A typical story would be, look, we've got 20 specialists. We're looking to meet with GPs. The challenge that we have is that, when I book in over and over again, it just looks like Billy from this private hospital group, but actually they're all different appointments. One of the appointments I'm bringing Dr. Smith, one of the appointments I'm bringing Dr. Jones, and so forth. I've been trying to book in, but often there's not a lot of slots left. And the good thing with it is obviously we can deliver some CPD content, but essentially when we book through RxTro, it doesn't seem to be sort of set up right in the first place. So what we're going to do, really sort of when we look at the three groups, we've obviously got the specialist groups and allied health. So we're going to look through a GP liaison on typically what they're doing. We've got the pharmaceutical reps or account managers. We're going to look at an example of that. And obviously the GP and primary care clinics, the feedback that we hear from them. We don't want to see the same visitors over and over again, but we are interested in CPD and high quality engagement. So just to break that down and look, in terms of the current state of the system and what's been experienced up until now, I'll walk you through this, and then what we'll do is jump on to what the future state really looks like. But this is a pretty typical person that we interact with on a day-to-day basis. So Mary works for a private hospital group for the past 8 years. She's got a new mental health capability. They've just opened up a new hospital in the area. There is a huge need for it in the area, but the challenge with it is when Mary's booking through RxTro, firstly, the doctors aren't aware. So essentially, when she arrives, they're coming in dribs and drabs. And essentially, when she arrives, she doesn't get timely approval because of non-segregated functionalities. So there's no special CPD slots for Mary or specialist appointments. There's no visibility for the specialist or specialist groups unless the GPs or visit the clinic directly. And sometimes they're waiting for months to obviously get in. In the future state, what we've seen now is, and what we'll walk you through in a moment, is that Mary has the ability to create specific profiles for the 20 specialists that she manages. She creates 3 on-demand CPD-based activities that she's also got available. She can now book in, and when she books in, she lists that it's actually Dr. Smith that is going to be attending. So it's highlighting to the practice that essentially this is an appointment, there's a specialist in attendance, this is what their latest updates are. Mary also books in for a 1-hour slot where essentially the practice has set it up dedicated to specifically CPD-based activities. And I'll go through this in a little bit more detail. But what we're seeing is where we've typically got the lunchtime activities, we've also got practices that have made times available specifically for CPD-based activities. And these will be 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, but they're essentially time that the practice is allocated where everybody attends and goes from there. So the good thing with it is Mary's now happy because the practice has really been clearly communicated that it's a specialist who's booking the appointments. She gets better engagement from the doctors because it's made clear to the practice. And overall, she's getting more appointments that are available because the GPs have set up different times for different audiences. The other typical profile that we sort of see on the system, this is Jack. He's a pharma rep for a multinational company. One of the big things in terms of kind of the functionality to obviously manage this historically, we've obviously put in different categories and we've put in the ability for clinics to choose to limit the frequency. That's always been a fairly blunt instrument. So essentially the clinics have got the ability to limit by representative every 3, 6 or 12 months, or they've got the ability to limit by company every 3, 6 or 12 months. One of the big challenges that we hear, and this is a really classic example, is, look, Jack's working as part of a big company. There's multiple teams looking after multiple different things in different therapy areas. Jack's sitting on territory and he's got a brand new product for the treatment of migraine. The challenge with it is Jack's logging on to the system and fundamentally he's restricted from booking appointments because the clinic is set up 1 per company every 6 months. This means that despite Jack having a different product from his colleagues, he's not able to book in. The other thing with this is that it's not just about the product. What we're seeing obviously more and more is that the patient support programs and the materials that are available are hugely important. And what the doctors aren't aware is that Jack's also got an accredited self-directed learning program that can help with better identification of these patients. So this is the challenge that Jack's facing. He's got a great new product, he's got great material, not able to book in. Going forward, Jack's product manager can now list the CPD program, which includes the self-directed learning modules. Jack's manager also lists the products that Jack's looking after, and he marks it as a new product or a new indication and so forth. And then Jack can basically clearly differentiate that fundamentally, yes, he is from the same company, but fundamentally the product portfolio that Jack looks after is very different to the other colleagues on his territory. He can also obviously highlight the CPD-based education slots, which makes separate time available for Jack. So with that, what I wanted to do was walk you through the new functionality that's been made available in the system as of today. So the way we break it down is into people, programs, and products. What I'll do now, I'll hand over to our competent young Miles, who will walk us through this, and then I'll come back and talk through the roadmap and where this is headed.
Thanks so much, Liam. And I'm sure that just like me, everyone here that has joined are excited to see what's new with the RxTro platform. So without further ado, let me just share my screen here real quick. And I hope that everybody can see my screen. Yes. So the answer or the quick answer to your question of what's new is going to be this one, the products and services that can be found within the quick links. So, as what Liam discussed earlier, your feedback has definitely helped us in maximizing this opportunity. So, you can start creating your specialist's profile, the programs you're specializing in, and the products that you wish to introduce to the market. So to start off, first things first, of course, you need to create or to register here within the RxTro platform. And you need to sign up to at least the basic license to initialize your profile. This profile will help in increasing your reach and your visibility. Once logged onto the system, hover your mouse to the products and services page, and the drop down options will be showing, and all you will need to do first is to click this manage specialists. So once you click on that manage specialists, you will be routed to this page showing or allowing you to create the new specialist profile. So within this new specialist profile page, of course, the preliminary information page will be showing, and it will be telling you the what's and the whys of saving your information with us. When you click the next page, you will be routed to the information or to the part wherein you need to supply your details. And the first things you need to be ready with are definitely your profile picture and your HPRA or OPRA medical number. Since you are a registered practitioner, your medical number will populate the basic information stored from OPRA. Just cross-check all the displayed information or supplies the additional ones if you prefer. Lastly, so you just have to cross-check everything in here. And on the last part, you just have to accept the content responsibility before clicking the next button. So once you click on the next button, you will be routed to accepting the terms and the display agreement that we have. Now to illustrate or to show you how it looks like, I'll go ahead and go to a readily available populated profile for us. So here I have a couple of specialists within the platform already. So we'll go ahead and click this edit information. And let me just click this next so that their details will be showing here for me. Oh, hold on. Sorry about that. One more time. Sorry about that. Let me just repopulate in here. Let it edit information, and there you go. So we have here the information of Dr. Arano or Specialist Arano, Bill Arano, and the specialization that he has, and also the practices or the clinics that he's connected with, additional information that he supplied, such as the contact details, and also the bio or the professionally related details that he has in terms of his expertise, his experiences, and his certifications that he has. And if everything is all set from this page or from this part, again, the declaration and consent, you just have to agree on it so that when you click finish, your profile will be readily created. Now, how it will look like for visitors of the page and all the GPs or practitioners when they view your information. So this will be where the view details will appear, and a pop-up window will be showing all your saved information that they can rely on or they can refer to know who are you or what kind of specialist you are. So there. Now, of course, aside from the specialist, we also have the programs. So in terms of the programs, all of the specialization or maybe interests and topics that you wish to discuss can already be saved and are created here within the RxTro platform. Again, under the products and services link, you just have to click this manage programs and create a new program that you would like to add within the platform. Now, in terms of this one, I'll go ahead and show you a readily available program already. So you can see that the first thing or the first image you'll be seeing in here is definitely the program image that you have to boost the market of your program. And then you have to supply the needed details, like let's say the length of the program, the topics that you would like to cover, the delivery method and the format, what kind of knowledge or skill gaps you would like to address, and also what activities you would like to focus on. Now, you can also indicate if this program is an accredited CPD1 and if from what CPD home this program has been accredited with. All right. Now, aside from the program, we also have here, of course, the products. So again, if you wanted to, let's say, add and or create the product that you will wish to offer so that they become more visible to more practices, just upload the product information in here. Of course, you start off with the image of the product that you have, the basic details, such as the conditions or the treatments that it is being used for, any TJ indications, and brief overview of the product that you have. Now, as soon as your details for both the specialist, the program, and the products have been added, they will be readily available and will be displayed not only to the members or to the registered practices within the RxTro platform, but even to those who are just visiting the RxTro website. And yeah, that's basically it. There you have it. References regarding these pages will be readily available for every one of us here within the resource page or the resource tab within the RxTro platform, so that you have a better look or you can see what it looks like for all these 3 pages from your end as well, even after our discussion. For now, let me hand you over back to Liam and have more focused discussion on the page's features, benefits, and vision.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that, Miles. So what I'll do now, I'll go through a little bit more detail around sort of where we're headed with this. So essentially what I thought was worthwhile just sharing firstly is, look, this is the 34 clinics at the moment that have currently opened up specific slots for CPD-based activities. We're going to see that this is going to grow more and more as we sort of bring more examples of what's out there and available. But as I say, and there are previous webinars that we've gone through this, but essentially what this is where, in contrast to, for example, the meet and greets that occur at lunchtime, these are dedicated slots where the expectation is that all of the doctors will come in at once, they might spend the full hour there, and the style of content is obviously able to be a lot more robust than the typical meet and greets. So as I say, we've got 34 clinics. Looking at the list, you can see that these are big, busy clinics. You'd probably end up with sort of 10 to 15 doctors in attendance at each of these, and fundamentally, really good opportunity to obviously get into those slots. Why is this important? So fundamentally, look, at the end of the day, what this is trying to do is communicate better around why an appointment with your product, your company, or so forth is important, and obviously what the value that's there and able to be achieved with it. The more we can kind of empower the clinics, obviously, with the information around topics and areas that they're really keen to engage with, the better the overall customer experience, and the more we see that clinics are able to nominate times for the system. So fundamentally, look, if you're Mary or Jack sitting on this call, if you're a specialist or an allied health provider that doesn't get enough appointments, as I say, if we get those profiles in there and really help to differentiate the fact that this is an appointment with Dr. Smith, this is an appointment with Dr. Brown, and the 5 appointments that you've done this year are all different specialists, I'd encourage you to do so. Fundamentally, it's only going to help you to sort of position yourself more strongly, and you have new products and so forth. In terms of the roadmap, where we're headed with this, so where we're at is this stage here on the left, which is the content capture stage. So what's interesting, we walked you through today what were the people, products, and programs module. Essentially, as we've started to put this in front of companies, we're coming up with sort of different structures that people are really keen to obviously have in there straight away. So for example, one of the ones, and it's on the roadmap slide, but that we're trying to turn around by the end of March, is essentially a capacity to list an event or a meeting that is occurring. There's also been questions around patient support programs, clinical trials. Essentially what we're at this stage here is going through and just understanding all the different users of the system and how they wish to sort of display the content that they've got available. Once we're sort of comfortable with that, and we do still understand that it's probably going to take us a few months to obviously deal with the diverse group, what we're moving on to is obviously the content display section. So this is obviously providing that directory to the practices so that they can obviously peruse that, potentially request meetings with companies, and obviously make that available. By the middle of the year, what we want to be on is where we're actually able to add content into a specific slot. So at the moment, when you jump on and you book a slot, you book it, it says that it's Liam from wherever, and that's all the detail that's basically shown to the practice. What we want is that instead of booking that slot, you're actually booking that slot where you actually add the relevant specialist or you add the relevant program. So instead of just being Liam from wherever, what it's saying is that I'm coming out, I'm bringing Dr. Smith to talk about the latest case studies in this particular area of treatment. Or I'm from XYZ Pharma, and essentially I'm coming out with a new indication in this area. The final stage of this, and this is kind of going back to sort of what we really hear from the customers, it's about empowering the clinics to obviously then set up their preferences as to what they want out of the different times that they make available. So as an example, if we're going to set up a meeting at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday, it must have a CPD program. If we're going to do a Friday slot, it'd be nice if we kept Fridays for specialists. We might do pharma as an 8:30 coffee run, essentially, obviously, just empowering the clinics to make that available. So where we're at, essentially, as I say, content capture stage, people, products, and programs are built. They're in the system there for you now. The new ones that are coming in the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks, meetings, patient support programs, and I'm sure the more that we get out and talk to people, there'll probably be another 2 or 3 different things that we need to put into there. There was an update around the app today as well. The app has been delayed by 1 week. We've just had a couple of challenges with that, but what we'll do is we'll send out an email letting people know when that's ready. But the good thing with the app, it's been completely revamped. The UI, the UX has been updated. It's a lot more user-friendly. There's additional functionality around requesting approval for appointments, and also you can add customers for Australia. So for our Canadian audience, that'll be the first time that's been made available in Canada. So please download the app. It's a great tool, and obviously this will be released in Australia as well. Finally, then, as I say, what we're looking around the end of March, April, really focusing on our content display and distribution. How can we obviously really showcase the audience to the customers before obviously empowering the customers to add those content elements to the bookings. Most important part about this is that, look, you know, RxTro, it's always been a collaborative experience working with many thousands of different stakeholders over the years. So always want to hear from you. We've built it in response to our users, and we don't intend to stop changing that. So what I'll do now, I'll open up to questions. I can see that there's a couple of questions in there at the moment. So maybe, Miles, if you'd like to moderate, do you want to just cast an eye over the questions and call them out, and I'll answer them?
Sure, hold on. Let me go ahead and open up the questions. So I'll just go ahead and proceed with the questions that are technically related to what we have discussed so far. So first things first, or the first question that I could see here was, or is that, does this new functionality mean that specialists will be opening up appointments for pharma reps now as well, since they will have new profiles set up?
Yeah, look, no, thank you very much for that question. And it's a really interesting one. And it's one that often there's a lot of confusion about. When we're talking about specialists on the RxTro platform, what we actually see is that about 50% of the users on our system are pharmaceutical. So the pharmaceutical companies going out talking about obviously the updates and the latest treatments. The other 50% are actually professional services. So this might be the new private cardiologist that has opened up in Ryde. It might be the new psychologist that has opened up down the road. Now, what these specialists are doing is they're actually using RxTro to book appointments to go out and obviously update the GPs about the fact that they're in the area. They've either just started or they've just started treating a specific condition for the first time, obviously so that they can in turn receive referrals from those local GPs. So what this is about is essentially empowering these specialists to actually show, and particularly with the private hospitals, we see that often you might have one person who's got looking after many different specialists, but empowering the private hospitals to obviously differentiate in the appointments, the fact that this appointment, I'm actually bringing Dr. Smith, this appointment, I'm bringing Dr. Jones, and so forth. Does that make sense? Fantastic.
I'm sure it does, Liam. So the next question that we have here will be, as a private hospital, we are almost always bringing a specialist to introduce. We often won't be able to confirm which specialist is attending until we have booked or have a date confirmed. But I suspect if we book with specialists attending, you need a detail at the time of booking.
Yeah, no, look, thanks for this question. And, you know, this really goes to obviously how important it is for us to keep working in a consultative fashion with industry to understand these nuances. To your point, really sort of what I see is obviously it's going to be a case of being able to update the appointment after it's booked. So, for example, I was talking to a person from a private hospital group a few weeks ago. What they were saying was obviously they lock in, let's say the 20th of April. There's an Excel spreadsheet that essentially goes out amongst a large group of specialists. Who wants to come along on the 20th of April? Who wants to go? And then they come back. So really what it'll be is probably the workflow will be locking in that date. Essentially, obviously, then coordinating with the different parties to work out who it is, but then actually updating the 20th of April to articulate to the clinic that it's actually this particular customer that's coming. Does that make sense?
All right. And same, or from the same person who asked a question, Ben Lewis, he's also made a suggestion or like a feature to address the lack of opportunities for specialists or hospitals. He said to be able to request with practice for a time.
Yeah, look, absolutely. We will look at how we put that in, Ben. And yeah, thank you very much for bringing that one up. When we talk to practices, what we sort of see is that obviously, look, call it ad hoc times are often, very hard to organise, and particularly as kind of primary care practices get bigger, essentially it's harder to organise across a big group of different doctors. But what we do see in terms of obviously addressing those lack of opportunities, this is where what we've empowered the clinics to do is actually make specific times available for different audiences. So what they can do is they can just set up Fridays at 1 o'clock, and it can just be specialist meet and greets, and it's only available to the specialist audience. What they can do is 5 o'clock in the afternoon, they can set up a CPD based category where you can actually bring one of the specialists out and you can spend an hour in the practice, obviously going through that, whatever the program is, and obviously the doctors can use that as part of their self-reported CPD based activities. But yeah, look, maybe it's worth connecting sort of after the meeting as well, and I can walk you through sort of the specifics around that.
Certainly. And the last one in the Q&A channel is actually more of a question regarding the Canadian app, when it is going to be visible or available for them.
Fantastic. No, look, absolutely. No, thank you very much for that question. The goal was to have it available for today. Unfortunately, we just hit a couple of little hurdles that it wasn't ready. The goal at the moment is Monday. But what we'll do is we'll send out an email and communicate that to everybody when it's in the store.
Got it. And that's all of the questions that we have here in our Q&A channel, Liam.
Fantastic. Excellent. Well, look, guys, sorry, excuse me. That everybody's time is valuable. So, yeah, thank you very much for taking this time. As I say, look, main thing with this, we want to keep this collaborative development going across. We've had the interesting spot where we're working as a platform. We've got one side saying this, different people saying that. So the more that we can spend time talking to you guys, the better. So if your question wasn't answered today, please feel free to reach out and we can go from there. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye.